Okay, so I've had this one coming out for a minute and I finally got it uploaded. What is irradiation and why is it important? Irradiation does a couple things. So one of the first things that it does is it allows us to be very specific with driving force through a specific area. By doing that, it allows us to explore a joint space without any sort of compensation. So it helps eliminate compensations, and I'll show you that real quick. Let's say that I'm going to do a shoulder car and I'm not irradiating. What I might do is I might be restricted, let's say back here, but what I'll do to find that mobility is I'll turn my body, or I'll bring my shoulder into a little bit of internal rotation to find it. By really irradiating, what I'll do is I'm going to draw tension in my body, and now I've created stability. So now I actually have to, instead of finding that space, if I do cheat, it really highlights it. But two, I'm now able to explore that joint space and say, oh, that spot right there is really, really problematic. And I know that I need help there. So it highlights the areas that we really need a little bit of work, while also creating stability and eliminating compensations elsewhere. The other thing that it does really well is it allows us to actually push and draw push force or highlight force into specific tissues. The idea that I like to highlight this with is, let's say I'm going to shake your hand, and I say, we go to shake hands, and I say, but here's the thing, I only want you to squeeze my hand with the little bitty muscles in your hand. Well, you're not going to get very much because you're not allowed to use your forearm muscles, your biceps muscles, shoulder, or anything like that, right? So you're only allowed to squeeze using these little bitty muscles in your hand. And then I say, okay, you're allowed to use your forearm. So then you get a little bit more because you draw in force from your forearm, but nothing from the biceps up. And then I say, okay, you can use your biceps and your shoulders. So then you get a little bit more because you can help drive force, you can clamp down. And then I say, okay, no limitations. What I want you to do is I want you to take a big deep breath, and I want you to give it everything you got. And so what you'll do is you'll take a big deep breath, you'll trap that air, and then you will clamp down as hard as you possibly can, and you're going to get a lot of force production. That's the concept of irradiation. So we're able to specifically drive force through a specific tissue. So let's say it's a shoulder car, and I'm doing a shoulder car. I'm going to clamp down, I'm going to create stability elsewhere, and I'm going to go through, and I'm going to try and clamp down on the joint as much as possible and make everything contract around it in order if I feel restricted and it's not against the rules, I'm going to try and fight for more internal rotation with everything that I've got, and I'm going to try and fight to get more and more and more internal rotation with every single muscle fiber that I have. So that's the point of irradiation. When it comes down to jiu-jitsu, when somebody is taking you to that end range, we need to be able to train and to train force production. So if you're in a Kimura, you need to be able to fight it with drive force into that shoulder and fight it to give you just that extra minute to tap. So that's the point of irradiation. Let me know if you have any questions about that.